free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still he answered the call. And we say, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still he answered the call. And we say, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning then, you might as well go on today.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to another Officer Tatum show. Donald Trump, come here. Come here for a minute. Come talk to me. Holler at me, big dog. What are you doing? That's all I'm saying right now. And let me preface this because some people will get mad at me and say, Brandon Tatum, you turned to a rhino. You don't support Trump no more. No, I support Trump. He's still my president. He's still doing a lot of great things. But let's talk about this Epstein thing real quick. I wanted to let it go. I wanted to stop talking about it. I thought we were done with this. I thought that Donald Trump was going to correct the script and he was going to come out and do what he needed to do in order to, make people who have been dealing with this issue feel a little more confident and comfortable because he is the commander-in-chief that oversees all of these things. But yet Donald Trump comes out today and throw out something on Truth Social that even his biggest supporter, Brandon Tatum, is like, Trump, what are you doing, bruh? Like, who is consulting with Donald Trump? Is there anybody, maybe he don't listen to people. Maybe he like stubborn as a mud and he not gonna listen to nobody. But it's like Donald Trump, bruh. Like, there's a balance here. I understand the compulsion when you feel like people that you don't, like, for instance, I did video about Uvalde. All right, people were mad at me and Uvalde. Just more recently, I did another video that was super controversial about Tucker Carlson, I think, because Tucker Carlson irritates me. And people were a little bit upset with me about Tucker Carlson, okay? I understand the compulsion to say when people get mad at you and you're like, I'm right, and most people are wrong on this, that it makes you feel like you want to lash out. But when you're the president of the United States of America and you feel like you're upset with people being wrong about it, you have to then bring yourself back to reality and say, I do owe them an explanation for this. It ticks me off to think that people are being silly. I'm saying if I was Trump, but at the same time, I have to understand why people feel this way. If this was Democrats that had come out and was talking about Epstein and the Epstein files and was accusatory against Trump, saying that he was in the Epstein files, and there was nobody in the Trump administration was talking about this, it would make sense for Donald Trump to come out and say the things that he said. It will make perfect sense. I would be in lockstep. I'll be writing op-eds and everything in support. But Trump, everybody in your administration was telling us that there is a list. They were telling us that they're going to be prosecuting people and that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, every prominent person that knows Trump was telling us this. Trump is probably the only one that didn't dive into this conversation as much as others have. But even Don Jr., whom I love all of them, I have a lot of respect for them. But Don Jr. literally was telling us that they need to release the Epstein list. How is it that his father got indicted, but they won't release the people that are on the Epstein list? So I don't know if Donald Trump is presiding under a rock, but like you have to be in tune with what people are thinking and saying in your own administration. So here's a little bit of what he posted today, and it's on the screen. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna read it here. It says the radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt. They say pay dirt again, just like with the fake and full discredited Steele dossier. The live 51 intelligence agencies or intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bedroom, and even the Russia scam itself, a total fake and made up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary's Clinton's big lie or big loss in 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, no good at picking than perhaps any president in the country's history. And all these people can talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Democrats is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings, he used the word weaklings, continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Donnie, come on over here, man. Come talk to me, man. Let's sit down and talk. It is similar to how he went about the vaccine thing. Donald Trump went on Candace Owens' podcast and said the vaccine was the greatest thing, one of the greatest inventions of mankind. I mean, he completely missed the entire ship with this statement that he made. Sometimes I wonder, it seems like Trump is on point with a lot of stuff, but then sometimes he's completely off. It makes me feel like, is this really Trump? Is this another person tweeting for Trump? Like, what is it? Where is this coming from? The vaccine was probably one of the worst things that ever happened to mankind. We're now getting stories that majority of the people who take vaccines, or the vaccines have killed a lot of people who've taken it. Like the majority of people who've taken it. Heart palpitations, comorbidities, or other side effects that have happened from the COVID vaccine. We ain't gonna even talk about what they did when they tried to force us to do it, and they, wouldn't let you travel. You couldn't go to restaurants. They wouldn't let you go to school. I mean, we ain't gonna even talk about that. And Trump, on deaf ears, he was mentioning that as if it's one of the greatest inventions of mankind. And then this is the second Trump blunder. He can recover from it because most people should realize that there's more to life than Epstein files. But when you call your own supporters weaklings, when you say you don't care about their support anymore, when you try to say that this is a leftist hoax, it becomes almost concerning. It's almost like, is Trump really, like, is he who I think he is? Now, I'm not saying that's the totality of how I feel about Trump, but this is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just being honest with you. This is concerning to a certain degree. The Steele dossier was clearly Democrat-led, Democrat-ran, Democrats enthusiastically put this in the forefront. They said Russia collusion. We know they were pushing it. They were talking about it incessantly. They were on the news talking about it. They blamed Trump every 5 minutes. They crying, they spitting, they talking about it. You name it, the Democrats owned every single hoax that he's talking about. But when it comes to Epstein, the Democrats did not mention Epstein once while Joe Biden was in office. There was not one mention of releasing Epstein files, Epstein records, Epstein lists, not one mention. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested under the Trump administration. He killed himself under the Trump administration. What in the are we talking about? And I love Trump and I'm always got his back, but bro, you are wrong on this one. And then you say it's a Democrat hoax. But every single person that worked for you was touting this from the mountaintop, telling us that there's something there. Pam Bundy decided that she was going to have a whole influencer group of people with binders with redacted content around it surrounding Epstein. In her confirmation hearing and things that she said online, one of her first things she was going to do is release the JFK files, Martin Luther King files, and the Epstein files. Your own son said they need to release the list. Why are you going down this path to gaslight us, Donald Trump? You've done so many things in such an incredible way that we will never forget, and I never will forget. I think Donald Trump is still the man when it comes to being a president. But get your head out of your rear and understand what you're up against and understand what your people have said. It's unnecessary for Donald Trump to go down this path. All he has to say is, hey, look, I don't know what Pam Bundy did, but I do want to let the people that follow me know that we're going to be transparent about this, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. That's all he had to say. That's all he had to say. And if it happens to be nothing there, what does Donald Trump need to say? All Donald Trump has to say is that, listen, y'all, I'm going to have a press conference. We'll answer these questions. We'll do a Q&A on the website, whatever the case may be. I know that you guys, from what I was told, that this was pushed a lot by Pam Bundy and people in my administration. But yet, when we got here, this is what we found. There was no legitimate evidence. And I know a lot of people had their high hopes on it. I know a lot of people are skeptical about it. We're going to get to the bottom of it. But as we look at it, there is not sufficient evidence to prove these points. And he needs to go through and say, what are the things that the people are asking about when it comes to Epstein? I mean, for the love of God, Trump, use ChatGPT or something. You should be able to come up with an adequate solution for the people's curiosity. But it like turned me off this morning. I've been advocating for him, and I've been all over the fact that just be patient. Trump is going to work it out. His daughter, Laura Trump, said he's going to release more stuff. And then Donald Trump comes out and spits in the face of so many people that supported him all this time. And the thing is that he has given the Democrats leverage. I just don't understand what Trump is thinking. He is giving the Democrats leverage. Is this going to change the midterms? I hope not. But it's definitely making people more and more concerned about the legitimacy and the transparency of our government, even under a Trump administration. Because now the Democrats have seen it, laser focused on it. Oh, they see the contradicting and hypocrisy right away. They see it just like we see it. But Trump is not addressing it, and so they're going to exploit it. Oh, it's only two. Hakeem Jeffries said the other day, it's only two things that could have happened here. Either that they lied for years, which is a true possibility, or they're covering up something now. If there's no files, just say there's no files. If you have a vested interest in covering something up, just say, look, it's under investigation because we have to protect this and this and that. I mean, at least lie. Bro, y'all ain't got nothing to offer us. Anyway, I can go down the list on this. But let me go down to another portion of this because I want us to dive into this, and I'm going to show the leftist lunatics and what they're saying and doing that's really contributing to the delinquency of this matter. Is clip 6 a video? Let's Trump asked, why do Epstein files matter? Is that a video? All right, let's play that video real quick. Roll the clip.
Mr. President, I know you want to move past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen of that?
No, it's not the Attorney General, no. I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city. No, it's I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements we've had, a great gentleman yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including in the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people. Yeah, go ahead.
That's so disappointing. I'm not going to lie, because I'm not the one that is sold to a certain topic. I think that there could be nothing there. I think there could be a lot there. I think that Jeffrey Epstein could have killed himself. And I think he also could have been murdered. I think they're suspicious that, this guy was able to do this prolifically for so many years. And Ghislaine Maxwell is doing 20-something years in prison for facilitating criminal activity. To who? Who were the people they were working with? You got these theories out here that he was a part of Mossad. Do I think he's a part of Mossad? No. Could he be a part of Mossad? Yes. We got all of these open-ended things that are lingering out there about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think people are stupid because they want to get to the bottom of it, because the MAGA people are the one that put it out there. I can't find a video before this year where Democrats are even talking about Jeffrey Epstein in any meaningful way. We were arguing with the Democrats to release the files when they were in office. I don't think you can find a single video where Joe Biden is talking about Jeffrey Epstein files. I can't believe Donald Trump is calling people stupid for his own people, telling people that they're going to release the Epstein files. It's so out of touch and crazy to me that I don't know what to think about Trump after this. I don't know what to think about his mental state. Is he cognitively dissonant from reality, or what is going on? I know I can belabor this point, but what can y'all help me in the chat? What do you guys think is going on with Trump with this? Because it's perfectly reasonable, in my personal opinion, to say there is no there. And we all had been lied to before, and they made up this hoax about it. And I would say Republicans did, or somebody did, and Republicans ran with it before. And now we're in office and there's nothing there, and I want people to understand there's nothing there. I understand that could be a possibility, but that's not what he's saying. That's not what Pam Bundy is saying. That's not what Dan Bongino is saying, or Kesh Patel is saying. That's not what the pundits are saying. You go down the list, bro. You can name any of them. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. Everybody's questioning, from Charlie Kirk to Candace Owens to Benny Johnson to Laura Trump to Trump Jr. to you go down the list, man. There's a couple other people that I'm thinking about in my mind, but it's skipping me. There's a whole bunch of people that are saying the same thing and are questioning the same thing. Alex Jones, who rarely get predictions wrong, he's even saying there's something there. What's his name? Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz is saying that there's something there. It's crazy to me, dude. It's something there, but they're hiding it and blaming the Democrats now. And I tell you guys this all the time. If we messing up, I'm going to call us out. And I think Donald Trump needs to apologize and correct the script on this. He needs to apologize. He needs to say, I'm sorry, I misread the room. This is what we have and this is what we don't have. When I say that the Democrats lied, it's that the Democrats lied to the Republicans that took this and ran with it. And the people you should be mad at are the Republicans who ran with insufficient evidence and tried to make it a reality. And now we're in office and there's no there. You need to listen to what Kesh Patel say. You need to listen to what Pam Bundy say, because they physically see the evidence and they've shown the evidence to me, and there's no there. He killed himself. It was a conspiracy made up a long time ago that y'all fell for it. And we fell for it because our people told us that this was a real thing. Can he just say that? Can Donald Trump just articulate that instead of bashing his own base? It's crazy to me. If anything, he should have been mad at Pam Bundy and mad at Kesh Patel and them for putting it out there when there was nothing there. I'm never gonna forget that he did this. Now, he can't run for president again. I probably still vote for him again if he ran for president, but I just won't forget. You know what? I'm gonna tell you what this feel like. This feel like your favorite uncle. And you think your favorite uncle loves you, and you think he's excited every time you come over the house. You always have a good time. And then one day you hear him say, I don't really like him to come over the house, to be honest. It don't make me happy that he comes over my house. I'm just doing what I got to do because I'm his uncle. And you feel like, oh, wait a minute. My uncle really don't care about me. Or I'm disposable to my uncle. I thought he was excited when I came up. I thought we were on the same page. I thought we were on the same team. I thought this was my favorite uncle. And now I realize behind my back, my uncle never really cared that I came over. My uncle never really valued the time we had together, and I'm on a different page. I'm actually shocked to hear my uncle talk about me like this. And this is what I think people think about Trump. They're like, wait a minute, Trump, I thought we were on the same page. I thought we were fighting corruption in the government together. I thought we were going to take down the pedophiles wherever they may land. And I thought that you would never say I'm stupid and that I'm dumb and that you don't care if I support you anyway. Not me, I'm saying what people who are feeling offended, how they feel. Now let's go to Charlie Kirk real quick, because I know Charlie Kirk these people know Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk probably could pick the phone up right now and say, Donald Trump, let me holler at you. So can, I can't think of his name now, but it's another guy. I always talk about him. His name will come back to me in a second. But what does he say? He could call Donald Trump in a minute. But this is what Charlie Kirk has to say. It's so small you probably can't read it, but you probably know Charlie Kirk's X account. But these are the things that Charlie Kirk said that Donald Trump needs to do immediately, pretty much to save face. I agree with most and disagree with a few, and I'm going to tell you which ones I disagree with. So Charlie Kirk said these are 10 credible action items. It says OPR DOJ report should be released immediately per Mike Benz Cyber. I don't know who that is. DOJ should move to unseal all of the Maxwell's grand jury testimony. Bring Acosta in for a full interview to find out what he knew about Epstein working for foreign intelligence. Then you say release CSAM. I don't know how you would say that. It's CSAM. Underlying facts around Epstein's indictment in 2019 that happened under the Trump DOJ. Need a full report as to why 2007 Bush-Comey investigation of Epstein was so butchered. Green light Maxwell to speak freely and learn what she knew. Get to bottom of how Epstein got his money, gather bank records and financial statements, and then it says release the names of prisoners on the prison floor night Epstein was murdered, overrule the prisoner privacy rule. Get the missing minute of the prison footage, press conference ASAP to explain any confusion. Now, Out of all that he said here, I disagree with the prisoners' names. If the prisoners are not under investigation and there's no there, the prisoners' names does not need to be released just for the sake of people who want to push conspiracies. Because some people should be protected if they're not involved. If there is no investigatory reason why prisoners should be named, then we don't need to name these prisoners and put them in unnecessary conflict. Because what people are going to do is they're going to see a prisoner and they're going to say, I think his name is Steen, so he a Jew. Therefore, the Jews use Mossad to go in, and they got this dude caught up in something that he ain't got nothing to do with. He just happened to be on the cell block. So I disagree with that one. Get the missing minute of the prison footage. Pam Bundy came out and said that every night the footage at midnight reboot, and it almost like missteps on a minute. It doesn't mean there's a minute of footage there. It kind of jumps a minute when it reboots at night at midnight. And she said all of the footage is exactly the same. So there's no uniqueness to it flipping itself or resetting itself at midnight with that minute missing that you see. She said that's just the way the system operates and there's no missing minute. Now, so therefore I would say if Pam Bundy is being truthful, there is no missing minute to discover. Green light Maxwell to speak freely and learn what she knew. Now, I green light Maxwell to speak freely to investigators, speak freely to Congress, but there's a part of me that feels like, how can you take what Ghislaine Maxwell says with any kind of justification when she was a predator interceding for another predator? How do you know what she say is even real? So I don't know how fruitful the conversation she's going to have, because I doubt she'd get out there and say, you know what, Epstein and I was doing it big. Epstein and I was going after, we had presidents in there, we had, and she ain't going to say, I don't anticipate her saying all of that, because if he didn't kill himself, then she ain't finna kill herself, if you know what I mean. Maxine get in there in that women's prison and she started divulging all this information, she going to get killed. Like we think Epstein got killed. And so I don't think that she has a vested interest to divulge those things. So I don't know if that's going to be beneficial whatsoever. I do think that we do need to find out if he was a part of any intelligence. And that's something that our DOJ and our investigators in the Trump administration should be able to get to the bottom of. We could put them in before Congress and have them testify, which they're just going to lie about. I mean, and then the press conference to explain any confusion, I think that's 100% what's necessary. If you don't do any of these other things that Charlie Kirk put in his post, if you need to have a press conference ASAP to explain any confusion, I think that's the way to do it. And that's the number one thing that should be on this list that they can actually do today. And let me just dispel a couple myths and I'm going to get on. I know Nick is probably ready to throw me out a window. I want to dispel a couple myths that I think, because we had Tucker Carlson go on to the Turning Point USA event, and I didn't watch his full speech. And now I'm going back and seeing clips of it, and I think he's a complete fool, if you ask me. And I don't really like Ben Shapiro as much after him and Candace fell out, and for obvious reasons. But Ben Shapiro made a video, and he was 100,000% right about Tucker Carlson. But because Ben Shapiro lost his reputation with his whole audience, everybody bashed him in the comment section. But let me just say this real quick. I just want to give you something to think about. When you have people like Tucker Carlson and others saying that he was a part of Mossad, I think being a part of Mossad, which is the Israeli spy intelligence organization, the mere being a part of Mossad, you would never know a person is a part of Mossad. That's the mere being of an intelligence agency, is that they cover the tracks that covers the tracks. If they're going to pick a person to be a spy, there will be no trace of his connection to Mossad. That is a part of what these intelligence agencies do. If somebody was a CIA asset, like for instance, some people think that the shooter in Las Vegas that killed 50 people when he was at the Mandalay Bay, he was a CIA asset. Are you ever going to really know if he was a CIA asset? The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is F no. The part of being a CIA asset is that you'll never know a person is a CIA asset. I'm just keeping it 100. And therefore, I think that when people jump to the conclusion to say he's a part of Mossad, I think just the very nature of him being a part of Mossad, you would never know. And I'll add this too: an intelligence agency that's that prolific, and many say the Jews run America and all this other stuff. If that is the case, then therefore he'd have never made it to even get arrested, for them to even have evidence to present in court to out his involvement with a foreign government. Do you not think that the people that got him got backups to him getting exposed? It's like the simple mathematics of it is, if I wanted to do dirt, gangs do it all the time, hitmen do it all the time. If I'm going to do dirt, before I do dirt with this person, I'm going to make sure all the bridges are burned if he get burned in the process. There's no phone records. There is no personal records. There is no video footage. There's no nothing that is going to show that he's involved with me. And you're talking about one of the most prolific spy agencies in the world, allegedly, the Mossad. I just can't imagine that he was a part of the Mossad. Now, there's a girl that I may interview that may know more than I know about this particular situation, but I just want to throw it out there, man. When we start making these conjectures and these ideas of what's what, we need to start using process of elimination to a certain degree, utilizing a little bit of common sense. I think it makes more sense that he was a deranged sexual predator that decided to use Ghislaine Maxwell to do all this other nasty stuff with people. And I think the reason he made his money is because he was the plug for nefarious things for people, and they would pay him to set these appointments up, meaning that he was this mover and the shaker. He's all with everybody, hanging out with Trump. And, you know, of course, he fell out with Trump because he was a weirdo, but he was hanging out with this person, and this person is charting his jet with people and letting them fly probably for free. Some people paid him. He's at every party. He's hanging out with people just like Diddy. And what happens? He's rubbing shoulders with this person, rubbing shoulders with this person, and he's like, I got to connect here. If you want them like this, you want to get a massage, I got you connected. And some billionaire or some oligarchy can say, look, you can go to this island, you give me $6 million and you can have this island for a month. Or I can keep you on retainer, you give me $500,000 and I can set this up and this up and this up, and you can fly the plane and there's no track of it. I could see him being a Diddy party freak off more person than working for an intelligence agency. And I can also see the fact that once he got exposed, he knew that they knew, and he's finna do the rest of his life in prison, and he didn't want to live like that because he's a narcissist. And if a man been living on a high horse and he had to be reduced down to a person in a cell for the rest of his life, some people can't handle that pressure. Now, I'm not saying I know that to be a fact. I'm just saying when I process everything, it leads me to believing this is more probable, that the guy wasn't no bigger than some of these other actors that we've seen have gone to prison. He was just as intelligent and prolific as a Bernie Madoff, somebody who can create a underbelly operation and make money when nobody knew for decades and defraud countries out of billions of dollars. There are people that exist like that don't have to be a part of Mossad or an intelligence agency. This guy is a mover and a shaker. I see people like this all the time in the movement. Now, I don't think that they are pedophiles, or maybe they are. I don't know. But some people just have the gift of gab. Some people you see is at every party. Some people is with Trump and they with this person. They got pictures with all kind of people. And you're like, how do you know all these people? Because these people are movers and shakers. And they do deals and they do connections and they bribe and they do this and they got this. And then before you know it, they're prolific people that got a lot of money and a lot of power and a lot of influence with other people. They know the secrets of people. They don't necessarily have to be blackmailers, but they could blackmail. And that's the reason why some people won't turn on him, because they know he could do this if he wanted to, because he know I bought this from him. He know that I had him arrange this with these girls. That's all I'm saying. I'm done with it. Let me go to Dear Hughley. I'm going to shut the front door with this whole topic. Dear Hughley is the dumbest guy on planet Earth. And if I ever debated him, I'm not going to be nice to him. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to run him through the ground in a debate. If Dear Hughley ever tried to debate me, he would leave either wanting to fight or crying. One of the two. And both of them he lose. At both scenarios he lose in. But he wouldn't last a chance. This is one of the most deranged, Trump derangement syndrome carrying person that I've ever heard of in my life. Now, listen to what he's saying about Epstein, and this is what the left is trying to do, and this is why y'all need to watch out for it. Roll the clip.
No, did happen or was alleged to have happened. It's disturbing. His affinity and his relationship with a known pedophile is troublesome. The fact that a 14-year-old girl accused him and Epstein of doing something inappropriate with her. So even the stuff we know, the stuff that he's openly said, the stuff that's on the record, should have been disqualifying to me.
But DL, I got to tell you, and again, no dog in the fight. I've talked to, there are two people in particular who are not even associated, and they have had access to this, and they say that, yeah, Trump's name is mentioned, but there is nothing untoward with respect to Trump. So I'm trying to figure out what's the motivation here.
Michael Wolff says that he's seen the pictures with Trump in them. Michael Wolff says that, right? So you have all these people on the periphery. But the truth of the matter is, does this seem like the kind of thing he wouldn't do? Even the things he said have been disturbing. His like for young girls, he said these things. So let's be clear: does Donald Trump seem like the kind of man who wouldn't do it? And anybody who's being honest, would say that that's not true.
But one of the people I can tell you is not a Trump supporter. And I'm getting this consistently. Yeah, his name's mentioned, but so are a million others. And it's mentioned a few times, but there's nothing untoward.
The standard needs to be clear. Even being in proximity to somebody who's that troublesome, to me, is worth looking into. Somebody that troublesome, that they were in that close of proximity, they hung out with each other, they clearly liked each other. Do you think that honestly in your heart of hearts, he isn't the kind of man that would do it? And the other thing that's particularly disturbing is how much Republicans have talked about wanting to protect kids. The list should be outed just to show that he didn't have anything to do with it and that nobody else had anything to do with it. Y'all brought this list up. It was them that used this as a cudgel. It was them that used this as an issue. And now all of a sudden they're voting against people seeing it. If your ass was hanging around, and you notice consistently what I said about Puffy, if your ass was hanging around a pederast and a pedophile, we need to know. Period. Either you hang around with pedophiles or you don't. And I think if you do, you should be disqualified from any public office. That's just me. You should. You should. But now, if they thought it would hurt their political enemies, it would be no problem. Stop putting it on Bondi. If he wanted her to release it, she'd do it.
All right, let's talk about this just real quick. I can't stand it, dude, but this is what the fuel that the Republican Party, or at least Donald Trump's administration, have given to these leftist nut jobs. Because at the end of the day, why are they agreeing with us? Why all of a sudden they picked up on this issue and they care about it? Now you give somebody like Hughley a little bit of leverage because he actually makes sense a little bit. It's so annoying to me. Now, some of the stuff he's completely lying about. Donald Trump want underage women. Shut the front door. Donald Trump, they got pictures of Donald Trump in it. Shut the front door. If there was pictures, they'd have had that man on the internet. Even if he was naked, they'd have his pictures on the internet. If they had naked pictures of his daughters, they'd put it on the internet. His granddaughters. They would go to any extent to embarrass Donald Trump for him to never get elected. So I don't want to hear all that bull crap, but it does make them look bad that they said they were going to release it. Now they saying they won't, and they're gaslighting their own people. All right, that's the last thing I'm going to say about the Epstein thing until something else come out. All right, let's talk about this nonprofit that paid bail for a person to end up murdering his wife. Now, let me tell you how stupid these people are. This is when weaponized empathy and stupid white people go bad. When I say stupid white people, I mean these stupid leftist nut jobs that want to virtue signal every chance that they get, and they do nothing but hurt people. These dumb idiots who, if they would take a step back and evaluate why a person is incarcerated, instead of thinking the whole system is bad and every person in jail shouldn't be in jail, they would know that maybe, just maybe, we need to look into the violent tendencies and maybe some of the police reports and this dude's background before we try to bail him out of prison when that man should have been in prison sitting there so he can't kill nobody. We'll get to this one in a minute, but y'all hold on. I got to give y'all a couple facts about this organization and how many other people they've let out. So the guy you finna watch, they bailed him out. He murdered his wife. Here's a few other situations where the Bail Project did, where they released somebody and they killed somebody. Christopher Stewart. tried to burn his ex-wife alive after they bailed him out. Travis Lane bailed out, later murdered a man. Marcus Garvin, released after stabbing, later killed and dismembered his girlfriend. Rashawn Gatson Anderson shot waiter 11 times days after being released. And this is these activists, and I debated one other day at Blexit, these activists that are incessant about believing that every single person that's incarcerated is somehow an innocent person that got caught up in the system is a lie from the pit of hell. Some people that are in prison are devils. And I don't know how they ain't never gonna be fixed unless God fix them. They're devils, they're evil, and prison was the best thing to happen to them and the people who are potentially their victims. Every single person that I've ever arrested did something they weren't supposed to do. Ain't not one arrest where I'm like, man, maybe this shouldn't be against the law. No, people that ain't doing much, they ain't going to jail like that. They get a little ticket, promise to appear in court, that's it. People that you see doing time in prison, they're doing crazy things, or they are habitual crime committers. They are going back to back committing crimes year after year. I had a young boy I call him my stepbrother. His dad and my mama never got married, but they were in a relationship for a long period of time. I knew him. We knew each other for years. This boy is doing probably 25 plus years in prison right now. Why? He my age. Why? It's because the criminal justice system is broken? No, it's not. It's because he robbed somebody and got 5 years. He got out and the judge told him, if you do it again, I'm going to throw the book at you. I'm going to give you 20 years you ever do this again. He got out, robbed his own daddy and somebody else, robbed them. The judge said 25 years. He didn't get 25 years because he was just a black man in the wrong place. He robbed somebody at gunpoint. Okay. Twice. After serving time in prison, he got out and did it. You know, I got family members in prison that allegedly shot a couple people in an argument, in a dispute. 70 plus years in prison, but got him run concurrent. He got to do 35 years in prison. It wasn't because he just didn't do nothing. He was just sitting around on his couch and he just happened to wake up black one day. A lot of people that are in prison are in prison with serious accusations of doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing. Now, let's play the clip of this guy, this story that I was supposed to talk about, but I just had to bring it up, man. This project is a bunch of woke white leftists that want to play Captain Saver, and they're getting people killed. And I would argue that if they had probably more funding, they'd get more people killed. Roll the clip.
Have the organizers of the July 17th demonstrations approached you?
Interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement have approached us, and in fact, we rejected.
We're looking for the clip of the one we were just talking about, Nick, the nonprofit. There is the nonprofit that bailed out that guy that murdered his wife. I thought it was a clip, my fault. Instagram article. Is that what you was referring to? All right, we'll put the links for you guys. For some reason, I thought it was a news clip. We'll put the links for you guys, in the description section so you can see that article that came with this, so you can read the article yourself. But this was an incredibly stupid thing that they did. And this is a continuation of these leftist lunatics weaponizing empathy and getting people killed. All right, we go to the next story, and this is what you had put up there, Nick, about this exposure of paid demonstrators, a $20 million contract that was turned down. Roll the clip.
An offer.
Have the organizers of the July 17th demonstrations approached you?
Interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement have approached us, and in fact, we rejected an offer that probably is worth around $20 million.
$20 million?
Correct. I mean, this is a nationwide thing, right? It's not to say I would have made $20 million personally, but the value of the contract would have been worth around that amount nationwide to organize huge demonstrations around the country. But personally, I just don't think it's effective. So I'm not trying to call myself virtuous for rejecting it. What I'm saying is, I'm rejecting it not because I don't want to take the business, but because frankly, this is going to be ineffective. It's going to make us all look bad.
So I asked Swart who exactly offered him the $20 million. That, of course, was the natural question, but he says he would not say, says he does not talk about who exactly his clients are, that it would be bad for business, and he's been in business for 15 years, and he has to turn down a lot of contracts. But, interesting, $20 million is it's a lot of money.
Oh, Brian, quickly, before I let you go, did he explain about why he doesn't want to be involved with Thursday's protests?
Well, he said he had some concern about violence based on what he's seen in the past, but mostly he just doesn't think that it's productive or really making a difference, big picture, about how the country feels about President Trump. And he says he just didn't want to get involved.
And this is a pretty prominent example of manufactured outrage and activism. $20 million it'll cost people to get up and protest around the country. And you know why? Because people are not genuinely outraged by this stuff. They're creating outrage. They're creating this momentum to make, people think that this is a bigger problem. It's the same thing they did in the civil rights movement. The more I read about the civil rights movement, the more I'm dejected about what they had done to our country. It actually makes me upset about it. Because everybody thinks that Black people were getting bit by dogs in this fight for activism. And a lot of these cases were just like the ones we see today. They're staging outrage. They would go to places that had racial tension, which is not where all these people live. This is not where people that live in that area are experiencing. They come and conjure up racial tension in places where, and I'm gonna give you it was places in the South where there was a white-owned diner. Black people had their own diner. White only, Black had their own stuff. Black people ain't coming across the tracks to go to white people's stuff. White people ain't coming across the tracks to go to their stuff, and ain't nobody got no problem. Everybody living separate and they having their own good time. Black people are developing and growing and prospering, and white people are doing the same on their side of town. And there's a lot of mixing that happened mutually and voluntarily without government intervention. But what happens is they go and get activists and they bring them in these cities and make them sit in a diner with the white people. When the local people that live there don't have a problem like this. It's not an everyday experience that Black people trying to eat and just survive, and white people are jumping on them and beating on them and kicking them out of diners. What was happening is that they had laws, and I get to a certain degree what they were trying to do, but manufacturing outrage is a problematic thing. You had Rosa Parks sitting on the bus. She didn't genuinely ride the bus and have that experience. What she did, she had a car, but they wanted to stage activism. So they hired her or had her go and sit on the bus to create the outrage that they needed to push a particular legislation and force the government to get involved in local issues. They wanted a nationwide activism legislation when they should have been allowing the states to deal with it state by state. And what did they do? They got people on government assistance and handouts and Marxist theology that destroyed the Black community. If Black people were genuinely experiencing this and it got exposed, that's a different thing than activists who are a fake reverend. And I say a fake reverend because he didn't even preach most of the time. Martin Luther King is putting together a movement to create what he wants the government to do on behalf of Black people and not to help them, to be honest. And I'm still struggling with wondering, was he a willful idiot being tricked by others, or was he actually a person who genuinely knew what he was doing and he knew he was doing wrong? Because you cannot show me a trajectory for African-American people that improved after the 60s. I'm talking about an overall trajectory of Black people. The trajectory of Black people in the 30s and 40s and 50s were outpacing white people in America. They were married, families, wealth development, banks, businesses. I mean, you name it, Black people had it moving and shaking. And then all of a sudden you go to the day, now we see gang violence. Now we see education system is terrible. Black kids are, obesity crisis in the Black community, fatherless homes crisis in the Black community, education crisis in many of these Black communities, murder rate, violence, you name it, is plaguing the Black community. We didn't see these type of things before Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement. And Malcolm X, they like to forget who he is, who said, who's the most dangerous is the white liberal. That's what Malcolm X said. I think Malcolm X had the plan that could possibly help the Black community more so than Martin Luther King had. Martin Luther King wanted the government to be involved. Martin Luther King wanted the government to give them a handout. Malcolm X wanted self-sustainability. And every other group that's sustainable today in American history will promote self-sustainability and not government activism. Look at the Jewish community. Self-sustainability, not government activism. The Asian community, the Somalian community. I mean, all these other communities, they work together as a community. They're not saying the government help us, government help us. They're doing for themselves within their community and building a base. And now you see all Somalian neighborhoods. Now you see all Muslim neighborhoods. Now you see a Jewish connections that are here, and here, and here that's helping revolve revenue in their own communities.
Current national minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
First, let me say I owned and ran a small business for 11 years. I created hundreds of jobs, benefits, retirement benefits, also health care benefits. I know what worker productivity means, and that means that you have to make sure that your employees are taken care of and have a living wage. In the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way, came out with a report that very recently, $127,000 for a family of four is just barely enough to get by. Another survey very recently, $104,000 for a family of one, barely enough to get by. Low income because of the affordability crisis. And so just do the math. Just do the math. Of course, we have national minimum wages that we need to raise to a living wage. You're talking about $20, $25, fine. But I have got to be focused on what California needs and what the affordability factor is when we calculate this wage.
Ms. Lee,
increase.
thank you. Mr. Garvey.
$50 an hour. Now, I'm not the smartest tool in the toolbox, but if you raise the minimum wage to $50 an hour, this is minimum. So tenure, managers, regional managers are all going to have to make more than that. So you got people at McDonald's making $70 an hour, $60 an hour as a manager or more. And what is going to happen when you have a $1 burger at McDonald's and now McDonald's have to pay their employees 7 times more than what they have to pay entry level? Therefore, I don't know why people don't understand basic math. The more they pay you, the more you're going to have to pay for stuff. Now that burger going to be $17. That's all the company have to do, because they're going to raise it to $17 in order for it. I don't know if they're going to raise that much, but you get what I'm saying. They're just going to raise the price of goods. And so you're going to be feeling the pressure the same way you was feeling the pressure before. If you felt like you didn't make enough money at $20 an hour and you make $70 an hour, $50 an hour, and the price of goods go up by a tremendous amount of money because now they got to compensate for them paying their employees. Payroll tax is going to be insane. And then they're going to feel the burden because everything else is going to be just that much more expensive. The way you get these prices a little more sustainable, and I'm not an economist, I'm just a common sense person, is you allow there to be competition. You allow there to be entry-level work. People are not supposed to be entry-level their whole life. You allow the human being to be sufficient and not think that they have to have everything they cousins down the street got. I don't understand how people say that we can't live off a certain wage. Well, I made $46,000 a year before taxes when I was a police officer in Tucson. I had a nice brand new car. I owned my own house. I was paying child support because I had a kid out of wedlock. I was paying child support. And I had to go visit my son. So all the flights I had to do to see him and all the other stuff and all the things that we did together. I always had a place with multiple bedrooms in it because my son always had to have a place to stay because his daddy was a responsible man. I did all that. I lived a very comfortable life, a little bit check to check. But that was because I decided to do all that with a $46,000 a year salary before taxes. And I could have had even more money in my pocket if I decided to have a roommate. But I wanted to live by myself and have a room for my son. That was my decision. I didn't have to have it like that. I could have had a roommate and my son come to visit me, which was what the schedule was at that time. He can come stay in my room. There ain't no shame in my son's thing. He was a little kid at the time. I didn't have to get a brand new car. I could have got a good, nice used car. I didn't have to live in Marana, Arizona, which was the nicer part of Tucson. I could have lived in Tucson, maybe a little bit sketchy, but I could still live there. It's still a place to live. I'm not going to be hungry on the streets. I didn't have to buy that brand new TV. I didn't have to get unlimited internet and get unlimited internet and talk and text on my phone. I didn't have to do all that. I didn't have to get that, I don't know, $5,000 bed I bought and get me a flat screen TV that I bought and I mounted it in my bedroom and all that stuff when I stayed in my apartment. I didn't have to do all that. And I feel like people be just, they be doing too much. You got people struggling and poor, and then you got a mama who got 5 kids and they all struggling, but they don't live together. Wait a minute. Make this make sense to me. If you and your brother are both struggling, why you got your own house and your brother stay in another house down the street? How about you and your brother stay together and pool your money together? This is how a lot of Hispanic people do it. A lot of people who come in this country illegally, y'all laugh at them. They got 6, 7 families in one house. And then what do? They pool their money together and then they go buy another house. Then some people stay in that house and they pool their money together. Then they buying every house on the block. Well, y'all sitting here complaining, I don't make enough money, and you want to live by yourself in a 2,000 square foot house with a brand new car in the garage and all the latest appliances. And you ain't making the money to do that. Well, sweetheart, have a roommate, manage your money well, and over time, you work your way up in a company, you'll make more money than you can buy these things. The American people are just crazy. I think the American people are spoiled. I think people are doing too much. And I know some people will probably feel very upset and thinking I'm insensitive, but I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Some of y'all shouldn't have no kids yet. You want to get mad at the system because you can't keep it together enough not to have 3 kids and you ain't got no job. Why are you having your 3rd kid and you don't have a job? I just don't. And then you mad because you don't have a livable wage. All right, I'm not gonna. Some of y'all like to do that. You like to have kids and then don't be in a relationship. Then you got one person trying to take care of 2, 3 kids. 2, 3 kids. And you struggling and you mad at the world because the world got no. You should marry that man. Y'all can have 2 incomes before you have children, and y'all will live a more peaceful life. All right, I'm preaching today, but I'm gonna get off this subject. See, y'all got me rambling. When I don't sleep, I start rambling. Let's go to another story I want to talk about. Let's go here. What was that other one? As Joy Reid said something stupid today. I was talking to the Tiffany, I forget her last name. She was she went on Joy Reid's show and whooped her to death on there. I mean, because she I forget, it's Moms for Liberty. That's her name. Tiffany something. I forget her last name, but Moms for Liberty. And this made me think about Joy Reid. So now I got to do a story about Joy Reid. But Moms for Liberty just whooped her socks off on that show. Just showed how ridiculous the left is. But here's another example of Joy Reid accusing Trump voters of giving everything away just to please Trump. And Mark Lamont Hill, I say this every time I talk about Mark Lamont Hill. just so y'all know that I haven't always been conservative, I used to really like Mark Lamont Hill. I thought he was the gold standard of what a man should be, what a young black man should be. When I first saw him at the Black Police Officers Association conference in Philadelphia, when I was a brand new cop, he was the keynote speaker. And I remember thinking the world of him. He got a degree from Columbia, and he was like, he had all these credentials, and he was 34 years old or something. And I said, man, that's so great. Mark Lamont Hill is so excellent. Then I grew up and realized Mark Lamont Hill is a dummy. Some people are so smart, they stupid. Candace Owens asked him what's a woman, and that fool couldn't tell you what a woman is. All right, roll the clip.
Because there is just an Obama voter that it will only vote when Obama is on the ballot and will not vote even below the ballot. They will not vote down ticket, just Obama. Trump has those kind of voters. They are dedicated to him personally. They care more about him being happy than them being happy. They care more about him having what he wants than them having what they want. They will give up their health care. They will let their daughters be destroyed.
Hold on. I want to call her a B, but I'm not going to do it because I'm a Christian. They want their health care destroyed because Donald Trump is getting people who shouldn't be on the health care program off the health care program, but she say they want the health care destroyed. What sense are these people making when it comes to these topics? They make none. They love Trump more than they love themselves. No, fool. We just want our border secure. We want competitive trade with other countries so our prices of goods can be lower, so we're not getting ripped off. That's all we ask for. We want tax cuts. We don't want to pay the federal government that much taxes because they ain't doing nothing with it, as we can tell. What is so problematic about what we're and they don't want to protect their daughters. No, you don't want to protect daughters. You want a biological man with his wang hanging out to be able to be in a locker room with your daughter, and for them whisper nasty stuff in her ear. That's what you want. You want a grown man, a boy, or whatever you want to call it, in high school to beat the brakes off of your daughter in the 4x100 meter relay or the 400 meter dash. That's what you want. And Donald Trump is saying, no, we're not going to do that. And Joy Reid and them are mad. I will never in my life respect a man that think transgender athletes should play against girls. I can't respect you, bro. You're sackless. Okay. Can I say sackless on here? You're sackless. You need to go get some prosthetic sack, or maybe, I don't know, pray or something. You got to do something because you ain't a man no more. If you are okay with another boy whooping your daughter, and now she can't make the top 3 to go to regionals or go to state because a boy is running against her. And you sitting back there like a coward, can tell me every score that LeBron James can score, tell me who your favorite running back is, but you let your daughter out here getting raked over the coals by a biological boy. And then she got to go in the locker room while he take his pants off and he looking at your daughter like she a piece of candy. And they know he doing it. Y'all know he doing it. And you too busy focused on your job or something, and you're not even paying attention to your daughter over there getting abused, mentally, sexually assaulted. And you cool with that. You ain't a real man. All right, I want to play this other clip, and I think I'm done for the day. I've been rambling too much. Last one. Black woman who left the U.S. for Russia. I don't want to say she got what she deserved. She got what was coming to her. Just all I got to say. Put that clip up there and let's roll it. Roll it.
A black woman who moved from the U.S. to Russia to escape discrimination and racism revealed on social media that the entire plan backfired on her in a disturbing way. Francine Villa was born in Russia but moved to the U.S. with her family when she was a kid. In a heartbreaking video, Francine claims that both she and her baby were brutally attacked by racist neighbors in Moscow. She detailed the alleged assault on Instagram. Now, the fact that the attack occurred in her homeland is an extra painful blow. Villa had previously spoken about her move in the 2020 documentary Back in the USSR, which aired on the Russian state media channel RT. Villa said that her great-grandfather George Tynes, who hails from Virginia, worked as an agriculturalist after moving to the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Now, much of her family still lives there, but at a young age, she moved with her mother to the United States. It was there that she spent most of her life until experiencing what she described as a traumatizing traumatizing experience with police. Villa explained in the documentary that she'd approached officers for help during an emergency, but that they turned on her instead, throwing her to the ground. It was then that she decided it was time to leave. That was back in 2019. Here is how she explained it. Quote, "Why did I make up my mind to move to Russia? I wanted to leave a country where I was facing discrimination. After a year living in Moscow, she told RT, quote, I feel free living in Russia because in Russia, no matter what time it is, I can walk outside and I'm safe." 5 years later, that proved to be a fantasy. Following the alleged attack, Villa took to Instagram with blood still on her face, saying a couple in her apartment building beat her with fists while she was with her 2-year-old and yelled racial slurs at her in Russian. In edited footage shared by Villa of the incident, the couple can be seen arguing with her in the hallway of her building, threatening to throw out her belongings while she was seemingly blocked from entering her own apartment.
Вы в России давно живете? У вас прописка есть здесь? Дай мне войти в мою квартиру. Прописка есть? Почему вы ко мне на «ты»? Я не могу выйти и входить в свою квартиру. Напугает моего ребенка. Кого? Он пуганный, плачет, бедняжечка. Да, зайка, ты плачешь, да? Плачешь, зайка?
Now, she accuses her neighbors of changing the locks, cutting off the electricity, and even tossing her baby's stroller down the stairs. She also claims her child was left with bruises following the incident. In footage taken from a hospital, Villa can be seen weeping in distress.
See, y'all already know where this is going. Y'all know where this is going? This is Jussie Smollett of Russia. Let me tell you this. She lied about the police interaction. We know, see, you could take the fool out of the country, but you can't take, let me say that again. You could take the dog. I got to put it together. I didn't forget. I'm tired. But you get what I'm saying? She's silly. She's the problem. And you can remove her from America, but you can't remove how silly she is when she go to Russia. So how is it that you have racial conflict here and you have racial conflict in another country? The bottom line is you. I guarantee you I will be almost willing to put my life on it that she did not have a traumatic experience with police officers. She was acting a nut. It's not that she came to them and said, oh my God, I need your help. Officers, can you help me? I guarantee you it did not go that way. She probably ran up to them while they on another call and she's cussing and screaming. They're like, ma'am, we'll get you in a minute. Nah, you got it. And then they end up detaining her and now she's this racial profile and she's going to move to Russia. And then don't you find it interesting though, just real quick before we finish the video, don't you find it interesting that she said her neighbors beat her up, but her neighbors were blocking the door. They changed the locks on her house. That sounds like a landlord. I don't know what kind of neighbors they got in Russia, but it kind of sounds like you had a dispute with your landlord who happened to be your neighbor, who happened to, but pretty much you were locked out, probably didn't pay your rent like you're supposed to. And then instead of you acknowledging that you didn't pay your rent and got into it with your landlord, you now say you got into it with your neighbors who were saying racial slurs to you after you probably assaulted one of them and they start giving you that business. Because in Russia, they don't treat you like they do in America. In America, white people are scared of you because they know they're going to lose everything they ever owned if they ever put their hands on you, even if you're wrong. But in Russia, they don't give a flying flip. So it to me sounded like she got evicted and got her locks changed and she wanted to act like a hot girl summer and ended up where she at now. I can almost put my career that I'm accurate about what I'm saying. Wrote a clip.
In the aftermath of this alleged attack, she says she's filed complaints to the police but claims they aren't helping or responding.
Oh, they're not helping or responding. She not telling you the full story. The only reason I talk about this story because people got to stop being silly. You think you're going to move out of America to go somewhere else. Shut up. America is the most fair, non-racist country you will ever live in your life, especially for black people. This is the greatest place for black people to live on planet Earth. Place of opportunity, place of equality. We have the Constitution, and there's many, many successful black people that live here. And to be honest, when you look at people who come here with values like black people used to have, they are far more successful. And I'm talking about people that come from Nigeria and some of these African countries that come to America and somehow they make better wages. Somehow they're better educated. Somehow they're better. They go to more universities and colleges and they do better. They move up the ranks and they're CEOs of companies. And why is that? They black just like you black. Most people can't really tell the difference unless they hear them talk with an accent. The difference is culture and motivation. They're motivated because they came from somewhere that was a hellhole and they appreciate the value of American work ethic and they work hard, they do what's right, they assimilate, and they become successful. All right, I lied and said it was one more video. I have to talk about this, and I'm leaving. I promise. This video about this football player. When are these young boys going to learn? Ohio State superstar decided that he gonna get in a relationship. Let me try to find his name in here. Is this the one right here? Put him up on the screen. There you go. Hold on, pause it real quick. Yeah, Quinshon Judkins. What is it? Judkins. Y'all remember Quinshon Judkins? He was number 1 for Ohio State, the bigger running back. I used to watch him play. He was cold in the mud. He got drafted probably at the top of the second round, one of the best running backs in the draft, probably would have had an incredible career. He's big, he's fast, he's athletic, you name it, he got it. He can catch, he can move. Him. And this boy decided to rekindle with a ratchet young lady. And I want you to listen to this 911 call. And now I'm not condoning anybody putting their hands on people. You put your hand on somebody, you got to go to jail. But you too stupid to understand you shouldn't even be dealing with this woman in the first place. Why are you getting the opportunity of a lifetime, yet you're still dealing with a woman that make you want to put your hands on her? Now, I can tell you what pretty much happened here, but I'm going to play the 911 call, and you tell me what you think this really is. It's more to it than just him putting his hands on somebody. Roll the clip.
I had a high-profile male that I was in a relationship with put his hands on me.
Stop right when did that happen? Stop right there. Key point here. The first thing she say is high profile. When a man hits you in the mouth to fight you, he just hit you in the mouth and fight. What is the emphasis on a high-profile person? And let me tell you how I know somebody coached her or she read this on the internet, maybe ChatGPT told her. She hit every element of domestic violence that would necessitate police to do a heightened investigation, and somebody has to go to jail as a result of a domestic violence dispute. There is no I don't want to prosecute. So she said, high profile male that I used to be in a relationship with put his hands on me. Those are the high profile don't matter, but the element of the crime of the other 3 says this is a domestic violence situation. And in a domestic violence situation, you don't have a choice whether to prosecute or not. The state picks up the charges in many states, and they will do the investigation. If this was a person who put their hands on me, but wasn't in a romantic or domestic relationship, a person can say, I don't want to press charges against this person. And therefore, the assault means nothing if the person don't really want to press charges. Domestic violence is different. Somebody told her that, and that's why she responded the way she did. Finish the 911 call. It gets worse.
This happened 3 days ago.
So that would have been the 9th of July?
It was the night of, I can tell you right now.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm trying to go in my phone.
You're fine. Is there a reason that you didn't call the day that the incident occurred?
Yes, there is, because I thought that we could work through it, and obviously we couldn't, so I'm trying to do the right thing now.
I want to throw my drink through the wall. She said, why didn't you report this 3 days ago? Because I thought we were going to work through it. Now think about this. What does working through it mean to her? If y'all worked through it, that mean you weren't going to call the police? If y'all worked through it, that mean he didn't hit you? Tell me what we were going to work through it mean. So you weren't going to do this to him if y'all worked through it. These women, now I'm not giving him, he put his hands on that girl, that's on him. But these women are diabolical. Finish the clip.
No, but the situation happened on Tuesday. Monday, it's early Tuesday, so like around like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Tuesday.
Because that would have been July
Correct.
Did you have to go to the hospital for any medical treatment?
I didn't go to the hospital for medical treatment, but I will say that I am still in pain, and I have a lot more of my story to tell. I just need to. And I still have visible bruises and evidence on my body of the event.
Okay, so you need paramedics
And on my
for any
phone.
reason right now?
No, sir.
All right, may I have your first name, please? What's the phone number you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
Okay, and you'll be waiting outside in your vehicle?
No, we are outside the building in person.
Okay, so you're standing by the front door.
Correct, where there's a button that says press.
Okay. So I have the call in. We're going to have a officer meet you outside, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
Now, what y'all think about that? This woman got into a domestic dispute with this guy. If they could have worked it out, she'd have never called, which means she would have spared his career. But somehow she says that they couldn't work through it. What does we couldn't work through it mean? Does that mean that he didn't want to be with you no more? Does that mean that he didn't want to do what you wanted him to do and now you're going to ruin his career? Is that what that means? This bothers me because there's a lot of women who get victimized by men and they're afraid to say anything. But then there's women who use that. They entice men to do things and then they leverage it over their head to say, I'm going to ruin your career if you don't do what I want you to do. Allegedly, what happened was they got into a physical altercation on the night that she was saying that it happened on because of him looking through her phone and seeing text messages. Now, any man that was born during the day, but not yesterday, know that he probably saw her cheating or messing with another dude in his phone and it made him mad. Now, I can imagine in my own mind that she's egging him on and saying everything that's triggering him. Like, don't be mad at me. Hey, you wasn't around and I had to do what I had to do. That's why he better than you anyway. Steam coming out his ears, boop, hit her two, 3 times out of absolute rage, which is exactly what she wanted him to do. And she go, I got you now. Mm-hmm. Are you going to do what I want you to do? Or I'm going to ruin your entire career? Not today. Not tomorrow. But the third day, you didn't do what I want you to do. I'm calling. I need to make the right decision. I don't feel bad for her, to be honest, but I also don't feel bad for him to a certain degree because, brother, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? You have your future ahead of you. You are probably going to be in a league, could possibly get Rookie of the Year. He actually is a tremendous running back. If you ask me on the board, he was probably top 2 or 3 running backs in the draft this year. Ashton Genty was number 1, but I think this guy is just as powerful as Ashton Genty. Was on the Browns. Great team, running team. They run the ball. He would have had a great career. And then he threw it all away. Young boys, listen to me very clearly. This is why I'm so against, in part, people telling young people, get married, hurry up. No. Son, focus on your career first. Because let me tell you the difference between this kid, Mr. Judkins, now and 5 years from now. Now, he don't know what his options are. He's immature. He's a young man, first time making some money, ain't even established himself in the NFL, ain't seen nothing. He rekindling flame with some girl he probably met in college that's a go-liver. That means they've been running through her like a convenience store. Why do you say that? Because he found her phone and she probably cheating, and she cheating on a man that's going to the NFL. That means she don't have no sense whatsoever if that's her value system. And a lot of times these football players fall in love with these girls anyway. It's really lust. They got a big booty and they know what they doing. If you know what I'm saying, if you grown, they in the bed, they crazy. And these boys think they love them, and it's actually lust. It's actually sexualized lust. And they going for these women and they screwing themselves. But 5 years from now, what would that young man have been? That young man would have had money in the bank, would have had a stable career, would have had life experience, and then he would have realized I deserve a woman better than this girl that I'm chasing down here, that really I should stop talking to her because she ain't no good. That's why young men need to wait and compartmentalize what they're doing with their career. Stop messing with these slutty women. Stop messing with women that don't have a father. Stop messing with women that ain't used to success. Stop messing with women that only want to contact you, rekindle flames with you now that you have made it. Get yourself mature, mentorship, find who you are, what you're about, the direction you want to go, and then find a woman that's going to go in that direction with you. I tell this to young men all the time. Some people probably think I'm selfish. My daddy told me the same thing. You need to be selfish when it comes to picking a wife. You don't pick a wife that you join to help her do stuff. You pick a wife that's going with you where God has called you to be. You pick a wife that's assisting you in that journey. To be honest, this is just for the men. Women, turn it off. Don't even listen. This is just for the men. Because when a man is trying to follow a woman somewhere, that ain't what God called you to do. And I'm not saying women can't have their own path. That's on them. That's between them and God. But for you as a young man, if God is calling you to ministry, you don't marry a woman that ain't got nothing to do with ministry. God has called you to ministry. You marry a woman that can be the first lady in the ministry that God called you to. If God has called you to do what I'm doing on social media, you need to marry a woman that's conducive for your life. What are you saying? And a good woman would understand that God has called her to be the helpmeet and the service of a man in the direction that God called him to be. My wife calling me right now. She can hear me talking. But I just want to say that I love you guys. I got to get up out of here. I can't read the super chats today. I went a little bit over. It's really the Epstein thing just took my whole show longer than I wanted to go. And Nick got to cut so much video. He's probably crying right now. But anyway, I love you guys. I hope that you take some wisdom for what I said. There's so much stuff I wish I could talk about, but I'm only one human being. Make sure you follow me on my Substack, because there I can write articles about different things that we don't touch on the show, and even things that we touch on the show in a little more nuanced detail. So I love you guys. God bless you. God bless everybody that gave super chats. I'm sorry I missed it today, but I got to get up out of here. And also make sure that you go to tatumstore.com. We got a brand new ACDC MAGA shirt. And it's the most fire shirt that we've created thus far, and I'm sure you guys are gonna love it. Go there. There should be a discount code there waiting for you, about 20% off is normally what I give to my YouTube audience. And if you're a part of the Tatum squad, you get 30% off. You're part of Tatum, the Elite Tatum squad, you get 40% off. That's worth just joining the squad right there, to be quite honest. 40% off is insane. I don't even know why I do it, but I just want to do something special for the people that want to support me. But go on there. Support today. I love you guys. God bless America. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American.